All right, good morning. My name is Linda Moody. I'm with Eastern Washington University's Army ROTC. I am here today to explain to you what ROTC is and benefits and opportunities that we can provide to you as a student. So first off, what is ROTC? ROTC is the Reserve Officer Training Corps. Essentially, it's a way for you to go to college, experience the military, and when you get your degree, you would become an officer in the United States Army. Some students opt to go into the Army as an active duty officer, making them a full-time Army officer, and some students opt to not go full-time. They request to go into the Army Reserve or the Army National Guard, so their commitment is part-time. They do 1 week in a month and 2 weeks throughout the year. ROTC is the #1 source of Army commissions, officers, and nurses alike. We train and commission leaders of character. The coolest thing about ROTC is it's a way to explore military service without actually enlisting into the military. You can participate in ROTC in college for up to 2 years before you need to decide if this is something you want to continue with or not. There are students that come into our program at all facets. So if you come to college and say you initially don't take ROTC, that isn't an end all for you. You can join the program at any point. So whether that be in your second term of college or your second year of college, really you just need to reach out if you're not sure, and I would assist you in determining if this path is still available to you, and if not, what your other options are. All right, physical training. Being a part of ROTC, there are physical requirements. Initially, if you're just a participating student, you're not required to attend physical training in the morning at 6 a.m. If you are on a scholarship, we do highly recommend it because you need to pass a physical fitness test in order to contract on your scholarship. Once you're further into the program, or if you are pursuing contracting, we do highly recommend it. As a contracted student, you are required to attend physical training, a minimum of 3 times a week, and they do all sorts of physical activities. Other areas that ROTC can assist you with is we're going to teach you time management skills. So these types of skills are beneficial to you not only for ROTC, but long term. You're going to use time management. I'm sure you already use it in your life to some extent, but being in college, there's a lot less supervision on what you're doing from day to day. Realistically, you need to balance your own life and make sure that you make it to class on time, because it's not as much like class back to back to back like it is in high school. For those students in Running Start, they probably already experienced this. You're going to have a class, say you have a class Monday at 9 and you don't have another class till 2. So you need to make sure that you're able to do your homework in a timely manner and be ready to go to your second class and not fall asleep, for instance. Just different things that you don't have to worry about as much when you're in high school, because you're going to school all day, every day. In college, it's a lot more about balancing and being able to use your time wisely so that you're not falling behind in class. ROTC is going to teach you to be a part of a team. How we structure our classes is changing every term of the year. So in the fall, your team is going to be just you and your teammates that are in your small team. So it's going to be 3 or 4 of you working together. As we progress from the fall term into the winter term, then we move into a squad. So 3 or 4 teams working together. So now there's about 12 students working together as a team. And then as we transition into spring, you're going to work as a whole platoon together. So that's going to be about 3 squads of students. So now you're working on a bigger scale. So it's going to create different dynamics each term, and it's going to show you like how each position and how each person is important throughout the platoon. It allows you to see that, bigger picture of like why you're doing what you're doing and why we're teaching you the way we are. Financial incentives. I'm sure everyone's interested to know about how this can benefit you monetarily. So there are opportunities for scholarships. There are some students that opt not to take a scholarship, depending on their financial means, if they get grants, if they're getting scholarships from the school. Some students prefer that route. It just really depends on the student. So scholarships. As a high school student, as a student ending your junior year of high school, you're eligible to participate and apply for a national scholarship. Those scholarships are 4-year scholarships. So you can apply starting around the middle of June after your junior year, all the way until March of your senior year. Now, the sooner you get your application in, the better. There are 3 scholarship boards that take place throughout the year. One is in December, one is in January, and one is in March. So if you get your documentation and everything for your application completed before the December board, and for some reason you don't get selected for a scholarship, you would automatically get relooked at on the January board and subsequently the March board. So it gives you 3 opportunities to compete for the same scholarship process. A big part of your scholarship is going to be your high school GPA, the activities and leadership opportunities that you're participating in as a high school student, and your SAT or ACT scores. As of right now, those are requirements. After the January board that's coming up for anyone that's a senior, there is an opportunity if you've been scheduling the SAT or ACT and it's been getting canceled on you because of COVID, that you'd be able to upload those cancellation docs in lieu of an SAT or ACT score, and you would be eligible to be considered on the final March board. So what does a scholarship do for you? A scholarship, like the slide says, either covers full tuition and mandatory fees or room and board. For room and board, it is not something where you have to prove how much you're paying or how much your cost of living is. You're going to get $10,000 annually regardless of what you're paying. Many students at Eastern do take the room or board option just because our tuition and fees are annually probably right around $8,700, and you're going to pocket the difference. So you may be interested in taking room and board and using it to pay your tuition just so you can pocket the difference if you don't have any other scholarships or grants from any other means. So you can use it either way. It also provides for you a $1,200 annual book stipend and $420 a month for the 10 months of year that you're in school. The commitment. So the commitment is typically going to be 3 to 4 years of active duty after you commission. If you're on a 4-year scholarship, it is going to be a 4-year commitment for what you're going to be doing active duty in the Army. If, say, for instance, you decide to come into ROTC, you don't apply for a national scholarship or you don't get picked up for one, you do ROTC for a couple of years and decide this is the path you want to pursue, and you apply for a 2-year scholarship that pays for the last 2 years of school, then your commitment on active duty is going to probably be 3 years versus 4 years because you had less years of scholarship money awarded to you. And they are competitive based on the attributes of scholars, athletes, and leaders. So those are things that we naturally tend to look toward, but that doesn't mean that you won't necessarily get selected. We understand some students, you know, in high school, you don't necessarily try as hard your first couple years because you don't think you're going to go to college, and then you decide, you know, this is the path for you, and you step up your game, but your GPA is maybe not quite as indicative of as good of a student as you could be. But that SAT score, you know, could really wow a board if you do really well on that standardized test, because you do have the ability to do it. So, you know, that might hold more weight than your GPA because they do understand in high school, sometimes students don't necessarily apply themselves right away or as best as they could because, you know, maybe it's not challenging enough for you. So just remember that you should really try to put in your best effort when you're applying for these scholarships. And then students that go the non-scholarship route, the only monetary benefit they receive is $420 a month stipend annually for 10 months of the year. Students just, it depends on why they take a non-scholarship. A lot of the times it's a student that's already in the Army Reserve or the Army National Guard, and they want to go on active duty when they commission. If you take a scholarship, that's not an option for you. So a lot of those students are typically already in the military when they take a non-scholarship option, or they're using their parents' GI Bill or any kind of things like that. Summer opportunities. So other incentives for students that are contracted in ROTC is you do have the ability to do internships with the Army. So depending on what your degree field is you can apply for different internships. They vary widely. There are probably at least 100 different ones that you can pick from the NSA to nursing to engineering, forensics, all across the board. There are just anything you can probably think of, we have. You're going to go to a military base and you're going to actually apply the skills that you would need for that internship. So typically, obviously, if you're majoring in nursing, you're going to go to a nursing internship and you're going to work in a nursing hospital on an Army base. So these opportunities are typically paid as long as the internship is at least 28 days or it's in conjunction with another set of training. You would get paid active duty as an E5 in the Army while you're doing this summer training. Nursing opportunities. Nursing is one of our biggest programs. Typically, it is our #1 major in ROTC at our school. We do have a partnership with the WSU School of Nursing. There are dedicated nursing scholarships available. And we do have a nurse counselor that comes and sits with our students at least twice a year and talks to them about how they're doing and how competitive they are to get into nursing school. As a EWU ROTC nursing student, if you are contracted, whether you're on a scholarship or not, when you apply to nursing school, if you're not quite as competitive as you need to be, but you do meet all the minimum academic requirements to get into WSU School of Nursing, you would automatically get a seat because you are contracted with ROTC. But then you obviously have to meet the academics to stay in nursing school. So it's not to say that you can't get kicked out if you don't hold your up and do your coursework and make the grades to stay in the program. Like I said, there is a paid 3-week internship at an Army hospital after your first year of nursing school. And you also get a uniform allowance. So you get a one-time $650 stipend once you start nursing school to help you pay for all those scrubs and the nursing stuff, your stethoscope, all the things that you need to be successful in doing your clinicals. We reimburse you for your NCLEX testing and your review course, and we provide nurse malpractice insurance. All right, academic advice. So part of my job as the enrollment officer is I'm also the academic advisor for ROTC students. So I sit with students, whether they're sure they're going to contract or not, if they just want to sit down and plan out like what this would look like from now until I graduate. If I stay in ROTC, how is that going to impact me? What does my academic plan look like? How long will it take me to graduate? I sit with students and I help them plan that out ahead of time. It's a really good tool for students. So every term you're not trying to scramble to figure out what classes to register for. You have a pretty good idea of what you need to take and how to get to where you're going. So it's really nice for students that are in ROTC that they don't necessarily have to wait to get in with an academic advisor at the university who's probably really busy because they have a much larger scale of students. I'm typically mentoring about 100 students each term. We do offer ROTC study halls, so students that feel they need extra time studying or they just want to be with other students that are studying, whether you're in the same class or not, they get together and have study time. If you're struggling in certain classes, we do have students that are able to help in those classes, but the university also has tools and we can link you up with them to get mentoring and study time from other students in college as well. And we do, the university has an honors program. You get priority registration, you have to have a 3.5 GPA, and you have smaller class sizes. All right, why attend Eastern? Obviously, going to University High School, it would be local to you. If you are trying to live at home with your parents, you can apply for a waiver to not live in the dorms your first year. Typically, it is required, but you can request to live at home if you are a local student, which could save you money, especially if you're getting that $10,000 a year off of a scholarship, and then your parents aren't charging you rent. Could be a really good way to make some money and pay for college. It's a nationally recognized program. So EWU has instructors each year that are awarded Instructor of the Year. We have students that go to training during the summer between their junior and senior year, and they're consistently ranked among the top cadets in the nation. Our campus is pretty small. It's in Cheney, but it's not too far from home, like I said. And our campus does have a lot of activities for you. So there are over 300 different clubs and organizations on campus, and a lot of outdoor activities that you can participate in at little to no cost to you as a student. To sign up for ROTC, initially you'll just enroll in a 100 level class. In the fall, typically it's Military Science 101, which is the class for 1 hour on Tuesdays, and Military Science 104, which is the lab, so the hands-on of the stuff you're learning in class. That's 2 hours on Thursday afternoons. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. My email and phone number are on here, and there's a link to our website where you can also find additional information about scholarships and how to apply for scholarships. There's a step-by-step process on our website. Thank you for joining me today, and I appreciate your time.